All right, let's dive into one of the most misunderstood, yet absolutely critical parts of Scrum, the 3 core accountabilities. If you get these right, you build a team that doesn't just work, it absolutely flies. But if you get them wrong, well, you're just going through the motions. So let's break down how to get it right. So let me start by asking you a question, and be honest with yourself. Is your team just doing Scrum? You've got the meetings on the calendar, you've got the titles, but does it feel like something's missing? This is a classic sign of what people call zombie Scrum. It looks alive, it shuffles around like Scrum, but the agile heart just isn't beating. A really huge shift happened in the 2020 Scrum Guide. They intentionally got rid of the word roles and replaced it with accountabilities. Now, why on earth would they do that? Well, it was a deliberate move to smash those old school hierarchies, to get rid of that toxic us versus them mentality. The point is, it's not about your job title, it's all about owning an outcome. Okay, first up, the product owner. I want you to think of them as the team's value maximizer. This is not just the person who writes up all the tickets. No. Their entire reason for being is laser-focused on one single thing, squeezing every last drop of value out of the work the team does. They own the product's direction. Full stop. So let's look at the official definition for a second. The phrase you really need to grab onto is that they maximize value by managing the product backlog. This means they're on the hook for the overall product goal, for creating and ordering the backlog items, and making sure the whole thing is transparent and makes sense to everybody. And this slide, this just nails the difference. On one side, you have the great product owner, the empowered visionary. They can say no, they get the why, and they're in the trenches with the team. On the flip side, you get the proxy, or the scribe, basically a go-between who just takes orders from a committee and funnels tickets. They're not a real owner, they're just a messenger. Let's really dig into these anti-patterns, because you see them everywhere. The micromanager who throws the team's plan into chaos, the proxy who just creates bottlenecks and confusion, and maybe the worst of all, the unempowered product owner. If they can't actually make a decision without checking with 5 other people, the whole team grinds to a halt. So listen up, because this is a classic exam trap. The product owner is not a gatekeeper for communication. Developers and stakeholders can, and they absolutely should, talk directly to each other. But, and this is the important part, the final say on what the team builds next, that authority belongs only to the product owner. All right, on to our second accountability, the Scrum Master. And wow, is this one of the most misunderstood ideas in the entire agile world? A Scrum Master is not a project manager. They're not the team's admin. They are a true leader who serves the team and the organization. The Scrum Guide is crystal clear here. Their accountability is the team's effectiveness. How do they do that? By coaching, by facilitating, and by knocking down roadblocks, not just for the team, but for the entire organization. A great Scrum Master's ultimate goal is to help the team become so good at this stuff that eventually they don't even need a Scrum Master anymore. And again, look at this contrast. A great Scrum Master is a coach. They teach the team how to solve their own problems. They protect them from distractions. But the bad version, that's the Scrum parent, the one who does everything for the team, which just makes them dependent. Or even worse, the Scrum admin, who thinks their job is just booking meetings and ordering office supplies. And these anti-patterns are so destructive. You act like a secretary, and your team never learns to be self-sufficient. You fall back into being a project manager, and you just kill agility with command and control. And the Scrum police? They're the ones who rigidly enforce the rules of Scrum, but have absolutely no idea why those rules exist in the first place. Okay, here's another exam trap for you. Let's say you have a team member who isn't pulling their weight. That's an impediment, right? So what does the Scrum Master do? They don't run to HR. They don't manage the person out. A true servant leader coaches the team on how to handle the situation themselves. It's all about reinforcing that self-management and shared accountability. And finally, we get to the developers. And let's be clear, this is the heart of the team. This is the group of people who are committed, sprint after sprint, to turning the product owner's vision into a real, tangible, and valuable piece of working product. The key phrase in the definition you have to remember is any aspect of a usable increment. What that means is the team has to have all the skills it needs to get the job done, from start to finish. That's what cross-functional means. And they also decide among themselves who does what and how. That's self-managing. So a high-performing group of developers, they act like a real team. They own their plan, they swarm on problems together, they hold each other to a super high standard. The anti-pattern is a group of task takers. A bunch of individuals who just sit in their own little silos, wait for a tech lead to tell them what to do, and feel zero collective ownership over the result. And these behaviors are so incredibly dangerous for a team. Waiting for direction, that just creates bottlenecks and crushes innovation. Ignoring quality, well, you're just building up a mountain of technical debt that's going to bury you later. And submissive engineering, where the team just builds whatever they're told without pushing back or asking questions, that prevents them from using their collective brainpower to build the right thing. And here is the last crucial exam point. The term developer in Scrum is totally inclusive. It's not just for coders or software engineers. It could be QA specialists, UX designers, data scientists, writers. Seriously, anyone who contributes to creating that done increment is a developer on the Scrum team. So how does this all come together? The key is that these three accountabilities are not separate departments working in a line. They form a single, cohesive Scrum team, and they are all united by one shared objective, the product goal. This table really pulls it all together. You've got the product owner who owns the what and the why, you've got the developers who own the how, and you have the Scrum Master who is focused on making the whole system work better. It's like a system of checks and balances. When all three are working in harmony, the results are just incredible. This is the ultimate goal. When you really nail these accountabilities, the entire language on your team changes. It shifts from finger pointing and saying, "That's not my job," to everyone asking, "What can we do to achieve our goal?" That right there, that is the absolute essence of a true high-performing team. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Stop thinking about your job title. Start thinking about your accountability. What is the outcome that you are truly responsible for? And maybe more importantly, is your team actually set up to own its success together?